Very few people, of course, know exactly when and where Ukraine will launch this expected counteroffensive, but it seems that it is getting closer. Tens of thousands of Ukrainian troops have now been training abroad, and the West has sent scores of tanks and armoured vehicles to spearhead this assault, along with bridging equipment and mine clearance kit. But to succeed, the Ukrainians will need to overcome hundreds of miles of Russian defences. Now, they began building these in November after they were pushed out of Kherson, and they've been installed where the Russians think Ukraine will attack. The Ukrainians will have to pierce this front defensive line and then punch through the other layers.
So the length and the width of these defenses is structured to prevent that. So you have at kind of the front, you have the ditch, which is to stop armored vehicles, or to make it, at least make it difficult for them to advance. Then you run into the dragon's teeth or devil's teeth, which is another tool to make it harder for them to advance. And then only then will you encounter the primary defensive trench, which is where the Russians will be presumably shooting at them the whole time.
The biggest concentration of Russian defences is in the southeastern part of Zaporizhia, in the east of the country, and across the strip of land connecting Crimea to the rest of Ukraine. This is the town of Polohi in Zaporizhia, which is an important gateway to the south. And you can see there's 3 lines of defences here. Even if the Ukrainians get through these anti-tank ditches, there's another half a mile or so before they reach the Russian troops. And of course, as well as these trenches and barricades, there's minefields and razor wire to overcome. The Russians have built these north and south of Polohi, and these defences alone stretch for around 120 kilometres. That's around 75 miles. The Russians are also digging ditches along roads and fortifying airports like these at Melitopol and Berdyansk, which are south of the Dnipro River.
Russians have the river on one side, they have the ocean at their back, and in a way that traps them, but it also allows them to concentrate their defenses. If you've ever dug a ditch of any size, you know that it's a great deal of effort. And so when you have a kind of area like this that you know you must defend, that's a little bit smaller, thanks to geography and thanks to the overall stabilization of the front, it makes sense and is possible to create defenses like this.
Most military experts seem to agree that Ukrainians' main thrust will be in the south, but of course that may be just what Kyiv wants us to think. The Dnipro River will be a major obstacle though, and Ukraine is also short of air defence systems to protect these soldiers as they move forward. But Russia just doesn't have enough troops to defend all of this 750-mile front. And leaked US intelligence documents show the West has committed 200 tanks to Ukraine. Kyiv says it needs 300 of them, plus artillery and other vehicles. But the Ukrainians may well have to just go with what they've got and depend on surprise, operational speed and sheer courage to roll back the Russians. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel.